Hello and welcome to the Southeast Iowa Video Network, sponsored by KCTC. I'm John Woodward, and joining me in studio today is a very special guest, Chief of Police Jim Lester, if I can get that to flow glibly off the tongue today. But we are very, very glad to have you here, and we are featuring the police department on our Washington Community Profiles as this section of the Southeast Iowa Video Network. Chief, thank you so much for taking time to be here with us today.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
For having me.
Absolutely. Well, it's the time of year. Well, we were just talking a little bit before we came on camera. It's like, man, how did this weather get here? We started off this beautiful weather last week. School's just starting, and then wham, we got 97, 98 degrees. But which brings up a topic of heat advisories and safety and everything else. But today is kind of featuring more about school safety as it pertains to the kids, and you have some insights to share with us. So I have a few questions as we get into it, and at the end, maybe I'll get into some just general best practices and things to consider. I know as a parent, I have two boys. One's at Stewart, one's at Lincoln, and so we're just excited for the school year to start. But just right away, just off the top of your head, just to ask, how long have you been the chief of police here in Washington?
I've been here in Washington since May of 2019, so 5 years.
Okay, very good, awesome. Well, I've gotten to know you a little bit more over the last several years, and it's always just been a delight to spend time with you and get to know you through different programs and things here within the community. So just thank you for all you do, and of course everybody that's on staff, with the police department. We can't say thank you enough for keeping us safe and keeping our community safe and looking out for the needs of us here in the community. So as we talk about the police department in relationship with school safety, I guess what I want to do is take this from the beginning of a day, like the average day in the life of a kid who's going to school at one of our great schools here in the community. Is so from they get up, maybe they get on the bus, or they're riding the cars to school and everything else. But talk to us a little bit about, we were chatting a little bit before we began about school bus safety and different violations, things like that. A lot of people may not even know what some of these things are that can take place, or to be on the lookout for, or what to be watching. What are some things just from a school bus perspective when they start the day and they get on the bus? Take us through what we should be kind of looking for there.
Right. And, one of the things is it's important for parents to, tell their kids to stay at the bus stop, stay away from traffic and things like that. But it's more important for the motoring public to know, as they approach that school bus, if they're meeting it and they see the amber lights come on, you start to slow down, you get ready to stop. When the stop arm comes out and the red lights are on, you stop and wait for the stop arm to be retracted before you proceed. It's we have some school bus locations within the city limits, and last year we had 12 violations, which is way too many in our community for school bus violations, and that carries a hefty fine and can result in the suspension of a driver's license. We're very fortunate. All of the school buses in Washington School District do have cameras, so we usually have a good solid video evidence of the cars disobeying the flashing red lights and the stop arms. So it's important for everybody to be aware of those as you're approaching a school bus stop.
Absolutely. And I think about as a person who drives and as a person who has kids, it's like, what, you can never, you just, knock on wood, you would just be unthankful, but, someone not abiding by one of those, like I said, the amber lights and the stop sign, some, small child runs out. I mean, you just, you hate to see anything like that ever take place. And just because they did it, maybe got away with it, by meaning got away with it as in not that they didn't get caught, but that nothing actually, happened, it's still a bad deal. So definitely need to be safe.
And, especially this first start of the school year, the kids are excited. They're excited to get off that bus and run home and tell their parents or whoever's there, how their day was, especially the younger ones. And yeah, it's just important for the motoring public to pay attention to those lights on those buses.
Gotcha. Now I will tell. I'm gonna confess to myself from this morning, actually. So my son started a new school over at Lincoln, and so we're doing pick up and drop off, and they're I think on the north side and the east side, and different ones. Well, this morning I was coming down in front of the schools, and I got down to the very end, and I just swung in to drop my boy off, and one of the teachers very graciously came over. She says, "Hey," she says, "after today, she just make sure we don't drop off in this lane." She's like, "There's a new city ordinance that no children can be in this lane." I was like, "Oh goodness!" I felt like immediately like I was in trouble. I was like, okay, absolutely, make sure to go to the other side and and do all that. This is the first year getting acquainted with that. But for those who may not know, tell us a little bit about what that. If you're familiar with that, or you're laughing, so I feel like there could be something.
You were driving that Jeep that pulled up.
I was driving that red Jeep. That is correct. That was me.
I saw the staff member approach you, so I didn't turn around. But yeah, the signs are posted there that say no parking in that area. The curb's painted yellow. Ordinances are being adjusted to match that, so that during the school day there's no parking there. It just makes things easier for the buses that are coming and going at pickup and drop off time to not have cars interfering with them in their driving. They're trying to be safe, and kids are crossing at that intersection at the corner north of there. So if parents could use the north and east pickup drop-offs and obey the no parking signs in those areas, that would be great.
You notice how he very politely and with a smile on his face was like, "Hey, moron, there's signs. The curb's painted this color. What the heck's wrong with you? How did you not see this?" But it was like the kind, courteous way. It was much appreciated. So no, I'm of course being a bit facetious, but yeah, it was because I remember I was focused so much last week on the pickup areas. I got that right. Like when I went there on Friday, whatever else, I was like, okay, because again, new school and everything for me. I've been doing the same one over at Stewart for so long that it dawned on me this morning. I was like, I guess I never really read into from the drop off side of things. So I was like, well, here we go, first time experience. So I'm very thankful the staff member was there, so you didn't have to whip around and turn your lights on and remind me. That would have been not a good start to my Monday. So
I hear you.
I appreciate that. Okay, all right. So moving on. So don't do drop off there. Make sure you go to the north and east side. You heard it here. Okay. So once we've safely arrived, we've gotten to school, and we're making our way in. What's kind of the next step in the evolution of the day for children, and what should we be coaching our kids as far as just overall safety within school and being there?
I think it's important if someone else is going to be picking up the child from school, that the school is aware of that, and that the child's aware of that, so that if somebody who is not supposed to be getting them shows up, the school knows that that's not a person the child should leave with, and the child knows that as well. And just, follow the rules that the school has. We're going to make an effort this year to have a presence at the schools off and on more frequently, and not just when we're called there for behavioral issues, but so we can be there in a positive light and let the kids experience that as well.
Definitely. I think that's outstanding, to be honest. And is there, and I know obviously it varies between grade level, and you probably aren't dealing with things that the third grade school that you're dealing with at the high school, right? Two totally different things. Talk a little bit about because again, I think the kind of higher you go, the more serious some things can become. Maybe if we keyed on specifically with the high school, what are just some good best practices for parents to be helping their kids with, and for kids that might see this or watch this, that they should be looking for or being on the lookout for, just some general overall safety as it pertains to, like, say, the high school.
Okay, I think I'll talk about teenagers in general. Parents just be cognizant of what your kids are doing, what they're wearing to school, what they're taking to school. Do they have vapes? Do they have cigarettes in their backpacks, in their glove boxes of their cars, things like that. We get calls we've been called to elementary schools for vapes before. So it's important that, parents are aware of what their kids are taking to school, and social media. It's very important that the parents are monitoring that and keeping an eye on what their kids are doing online. That's one thing with the social media. Back in the day, we didn't have it, and the bullying happened at school. Now the bullying follows the kid home with the social media. So it's important for parents to, have some communication with those kids and monitor those devices.
What would you say? Sorry, I'm gonna go off the cuff here a little bit. What would you say to maybe a parent? Because you hear, and I agree with everything that you're saying in regards to this. And correct. Like growing up, it was like and even I'm old enough to remember. It's like, none of that presence was there. And so now, what would you say maybe to a parent that's kind of like, well, I don't want to be invasive of the privacy of my students and this and that. And they might, have some of those thoughts. And it's, again, I have my own thoughts around that, but I'd just be curious if someone was trying to play devil's advocate, to say, hey, you know what? No, this actually needs to be a thing. You actually do need to be aware of some of this. And I know most parents would agree, but I know there's maybe some that may have an alternative point of view. So what would you say to that?
Right. And, the safety of our kids is the ultimate goal. Mm-hmm. And until that person is 18 years old, they need to do what the parent tells them to do. And the parent is responsible, not only, for that kid's safety and well-being, but they're responsible for their technology. So it's important that they're, paying attention to what's on there. Most likely that phone bill and that service provided to that cell phone or that mobile device is in the parent's name. So there's some, responsibility there.
Gotcha. Very good. We were talking a little bit beforehand. I said, there's always, when there's larger gatherings of people and certain things, I think of, there's a lot of different events. You have, concerts and recitals and also sporting events. We're ramping into the fall now. Football is starting. Woohoo! I'm excited for that. But anyway, and I heard the other night, I'm totally off the cuff, that the football team had a pretty good game. I know it's against Muscatine. I think that's what they were talking about. And so that's exciting. But with those, I'm sure with those kind of events also needs to just, be on the lookout and to be safe. And when you get that many people in one area, talk to us maybe a little about just some general best practices for those kind of things.
Right. And you'll see an officer present at most of the high school events at some point during the events, probably more so at the football because it is outdoors and it's easier for officers to maneuver around. But yeah, you'll see us at the high school athletic events. And again, the importance of that is for parents to tell their children to, if they're there to watch the game, be there to watch the game, not running around the parking lot and causing other issues. We've had fights in the parking lots. We've had, some vandalism and things like that before. So it's just important to make sure, you're not using the game as a babysitter and dropping them and leaving them. It's important to know what your kids are up to and where they're at all times, so everybody is safe.
Absolutely. Plus, if we get too many passionate parents, maybe they have their fights in the parking lot. I'm kidding. We don't want any of that. But no, people. We do love our high school sports and football and everything else. People tend to get pretty impassioned and emboldened at these kind of things. So which is fun, which is part of it. Just obviously all in the healthy spirit of competition. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come right back for the rest of the program.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
At Seafirst Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you to that dream vacation with a savings account designed to help get you on the flight there. Connect with Seafirst today and see why together is better.
Welcome back to the Southeast Iowa Video Network, sponsored by KCTC, and we are still joined here in studio by Chief of Police Lester. I did it again. My goodness, it does not flow glibly off the tongue for me today. But we're so glad to have Chief Lester here, and we've been talking through some things around school safety. So I want to talk about one of the most dramatic institutions or events in the world, the school pickup lane. I don't know what it is about people with this is a hot button for me. And I know I've lost half credibility by talking about how I didn't understand the drop off this morning in new school. That's a one-time deal. We got it. But as a general rule, It blows my mind to see all the different types of traffic decisions or non-decisions when it comes to school pickup lanes and the drama. I've seen, I mean, like the posts on social media from parents about school pickup lane and like the ire that has been aroused in so many different things, Chief. It's hilarious to see. But all jokes and kidding aside, what are some best practices? And we were talking a little bit in the break about what are some of the times you see the most influx of things to watch out for? And you mentioned maybe just things like this. It's when it comes to pickup and drop off, but primarily when it comes to pickup and afterwards, where you see a lot of these things take place. So walk us through just some general best practices for that. And then maybe if you care to just share some like, hey, we've had this happen or that happen. Don't be this person. Don't be that guy. Don't be that lady. Let's not do this. So fire away.
Yeah, great. Follow the school's directions. All three of the schools that have the pickup lanes, the middle school, Stewart and Lincoln, have great directions out there for the pickup. And follow that. Don't get there too early. We see that a lot. Traffic backed up. And
hold on, I'm going to park there. No pun intended for a second. When you say don't get when someone's like, okay, traffic get backed up, but it's like, hey, don't get there too early. What happens like when someone gets there too early? How?
For some of the pickup lanes, we see traffic start pulling up, blocking sidewalks. We see traffic at the middle school sometimes overflowing, backing up onto the highway, onto the street there, because cars are lined up waiting for that drop or that pickup time to get there for school to get out. So, try to gauge things if you can to arrive closer to the time, so the flow is a lot smoother with cars moving through those pickup lanes. At Stewart, it's important to come in from the north, so we don't have traffic backed up on the south side for people making a left turn.
Can we park on that too for just a second? I mean, last year it blew my mind. Like I read that and I was like, I'm going to be, a good citizen of this, to where it's like, if I ever came from the south, it's because I would pull in and park in the actual parking lot and then get out and walk. But it blew my mind, like how many times like you'd have this line of traffic going south, that would be going there. They'd be facing going north, but they'd be backed up going southbound. And I'm thinking like, what? We're blocking intersections, like we're doing all kinds of things. This is nuts. But every day it's like, nope, we're just going to continue to do this. Sorry, may or may not have had a hot button on a couple of days in this particular thing. Why? I don't understand.
Right, and we try to, we do frequent school patrols, and we try to maneuver through those areas and, remind drivers that, hey, you need to come in from the north, especially at Stewart, to and pick the two lanes that are designated for pickup, and the importance of that, and being aware of the no parking signs. There's several of them around.
We're back to this again. The no parking
around
signs.
Both schools, John, that clearly say no parking 7:30 to 4, and that's because of school time. And I can't tell you the number of times I've pulled up and just reminded drivers, hey, you can't park here. Yeah, I know, I'm just picking up my kid. Well, it's there to have that intersection, that area be clear so buses can see to make better turns, for the kids that are walking can see to cross the street, things like that, not to allow a nice convenient place for you to pull in and be able to get your kid. I realize that's only 5 or 10 minute time, but in that time frame we have buses turning corners and things like that. So, they're there for a reason.
Now, I don't have all the patience in the world. I'm not going to lie to you. So I've never understood the philosophy to go and sit in a pickup line for like 20 minutes plus. Like I can't handle it. So I'm like, I'm going to go about 5 minutes before my kid's going to get out of school. And then I just park in the school parking lot at Stewart. Like I just pull in and park there and then get out and walk up, grab my kid and then leave. And it's like a competitive game to me, Chief. Like I'll look over and I'll see a car that I saw sitting there, a while ago. And I'm like, they're still sitting there. This was a smart move and decision. And then the once or twice that I've actually like waited in the pickup line, I am continually reminded, why do I do this to myself? Like this is nuts. Like I just want to pull in, grab and go. But that's just my personal style. Right. While parking in the assigned legal parking areas, I will add that is definitely something that I will routinely do. So, but yeah, it's exciting. I've like I said, I've seen some very exciting drama in said pickup line where someone cuts somebody off, or like you have the line that's coming from the north and they're getting ready to pull, and then someone just whips in at the last second, coming from the south, and that's also exciting too as well. So, but
yeah, fortunately we haven't had any serious accidents.
That's good.
Around any of our schools. But yeah, follow the school's directions is the is the biggest thing to make things easiest.
Absolutely. So we've covered a gamut of things, talking about school bus safety. We've talked about maybe during at school, during, afterwards, some social media, sporting events, general best. Any last final thoughts on just as we go into this school year? I know we've had some tongue-in-cheek moments and some different things here, but in all seriousness, we always, I think everyone would agree, we want to keep our children safe. We want our kids to have a great year at school. We want to keep not only just our kids, but our teachers safe, too, as well. Because I think sometimes in a smaller town, we are a little bit insulated in a good way from some of the things that might happen in some of these larger populated areas. I mean, you see students assaulting teachers. I mean, you see all kinds of different things out there online and other things, and you hate to obviously focus on any of that, but it's an unfortunate part of our world, it would seem. And so just some overall thoughts for overall, school safety as we leave, both for, parents, teachers, students, just to keep in mind as we close this down.
Right. It would be just some general situational awareness, know what normal is, and the old saying, see something, say something. If something looks out of place, report it. Mm-hmm. We have a good working relationship with our schools. We communicate with all the building administrators throughout the year many different times, and they have concerns, they reach out to us, and we try to be present to assist with whatever we can. So it's just the importance of knowing what normal looks like, and if something's out of place, don't hesitate to make that report and to call us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Chief, again, for your time. And we really appreciate just, again, you keeping our community safe, our families, our schools, and everything else. But until next time, again, I'm John Woodward with the Southeast Iowa Video Network. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you later.